So let me guess, you're dealing with a difficult project team member. What if their behavior is one thing holding you and your project back? How would you like to take control and turn that situation around before it's too late? Do you mind if I share a story with you? See, family, the first time I experienced with this thing that they call conflict was leading a project that I was so confused on because I didn't know why where this conflict was coming from. Why were they so frustrated at me? Why was everything my fault? Why was it every time we were in the meeting, there was something that they had to add that we didn't really need in that meeting? And you know what I learned really fast, and I got up to speed really fast, is that I decided to reach out to that team member. Because every time I would send an email, they would have something to say that was either antagonizing or it was something that it was not even relevant to the conversation. And I realized that sometimes that it is not about you, it's about maybe what someone has done before you, or it's something about that person. And I can't control any of those things except for myself. So, family, when you get in this thing that I love, that I hope you fall in love with, called project management, you will have challenging stakeholders. You will have challenging project team members. But the question is, are you going to focus on what you can control or what you can't control? Because if you focus on what you can control, which is you have a better shot at having more success at this thing called project management. But if you focus on what you can't control, you'll start off like how I started off in this thing called project management, a little shaky because of the fact of every time someone had something to say, I had something to say back. But I realized over time that it is not even about me. And again, it's about what I can control. Point number one, set the tone early. As a new project manager, establish clear boundaries and expectations early in the project to prevent difficult behavior from emerging in the first place. A lot of times, family, as I watch my new project managers come on and I'm super excited for them, even project managers that have been here maybe 0 to 3 years, when they don't set those proper expectations, when they don't set the proper tone, I can already tell you what's going to happen with the project. Here's my actionable tip. At the start of the project, hold a kickoff meeting where team roles, responsibilities, and behavioral expectations are explicitly stated. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, what if I get handed over a project and from another project manager and we didn't get a chance to have a kickoff meeting? Great question. You need to reset the team. And resetting the team is just basically saying, here, allow me to reintroduce myself. I was about to go into something else, but allow me to introduce myself and really give, a background about me and what my expectations are and what I'm going to do. But you always want to make it about the team because if you come in too brass, too strong, you're going to turn the team off and they're going to be like, who does this person think they are? But let them know you are there to collaborate and just don't be a mouthpiece and talk about it. Actually execute and exhibit what you're talking about you're going to do. So if you're saying, hey, I'm going to connect with my team members once a week or once every 2 weeks, whatever that frequency is, stand by that because the team is going to be expecting that. Point number two, stay confident in in your authority. Family, as a project manager, you're going to have difficult team members that's going to challenge your authority, especially if they perceive that you are inexperienced. Like I said, I gave the substitute teacher example. Anytime we would have a substitute teacher, I already knew what was about to happen with the classroom. And it was just reason why that classroom tested that substitute teacher because they believe or they perceived that this teacher was inexperienced, but they might have more experience than the actual teacher. However, it was the perception. And so family, that's why I'm recommending to you is when you go in and you are leading these projects, stay confident in your authority, stay firm and confidently lead the project without being swayed by any resistance. Here's my actionable tip. Maintain a confident tone when addressing issues and back your decision up with data and logical as well as project related reasoning. This key, I should have said message on this because when you lead with authority, even if you like, man, I don't know, even if you feel in that way, like, I don't know if this is going to be right. Hey, talk with someone else on the project team that you could connect with to ask questions. Because when you're asking questions, that lets somebody know, okay, they're curious. I'm willing to help them. So stay confident in your authority. Point number three, separate the person from the problem. This is one thing I've gotten better with over time, but it's still a work in progress. Because family, I'm telling you, when you get what we call these nasty grams, and what I call it a nasty gram, meaning that it's an email correspondent that comes through that somebody took the time to write out a page or two about how they feel about you or the project. And it's like, we could have gotten on a call and resolved this. So here's my explanation. Focus on the behavior, not the person when addressing issues with a difficult team member. This keeps the conversation professional and my favorite, solution orientated. Here's an actionable tip. Use language like the issue with the meeting deadlines rather than you're always missing deadlines to keep the focus on the issue at hand. Again, use language like the issue with meeting deadlines rather than you're always missing deadlines. Because when you say you're always missing deadlines, already the project team member, they're going to be on defense right away. I promise you that. So again, you want to lead with, hey, the issue is really about meeting deadlines instead of pointing it at them, even though we're pointing it at them. Point number four, stay solution orientated. Message, anytime I say message, this is a point you want to lock in. You want to pay attention to. Why do we want to focus on this point? We want to focus on this point because the more you can stay solution orientated, you won't get so lost in the problem. You won't get so caught up in what the problem actually is because you'll be too busy trying to find solutions to rectify the problem. So when dealing with a difficult team member, focus on finding solutions rather than dwelling on the problem. This will help redirect the conversation towards a positive action. Here's my actionable tips. Encourage the team member to offer their own solutions to the issue. See, family, when you ask the team member to offer solutions to the issue. Now, when we take their solution, it's saying, hey, this is something you came up with. This is something we both ended up aligning on because I thought it was a great solution. What's the issue with your solution now? Because now they have to take accountability for this proposed solution that we're moving forward with. And this also can help them feel more involved and resolving the situation faster. Point number five, document early and consistently. You knew documentation was coming because what? Documentation beats what? Documentation beats conversation. Even if issues seem small, document early and consistently will provide a trail of facts that can be useful if the situation worsens. Let me tell you a quick story. The reason why I put this particular point in today's episode is because I've been guilty of not documenting early enough on a situation that I thought, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe that person is going on it. Just like I said before, it's just separating the person from the problem. But what I started noticing is the problem it started getting worse bit by bit. And by that time, it was out of control, and I had to escalate all the way to executives because we weren't getting the proper response that we needed. And it was frustrating because it was something that I knew my intuition was like, let me document. I was like, no, maybe I'm overreacting. But at the end of the day, I should have stuck with what my gut was. So I'm telling you, family, I'm recommending to you document the issue, even if it's minute or small, because what's going to happen is if you have to remove this project team member, or if you have to go to HR or their direct manager, they're going to want facts. They're not going to want your emotions or your feelings. They're going to want, hey, on Friday, we had this meeting and John said X, Y, and Z. And this was my response. And this was the solution. They didn't want to work on a solution. They were pushing back, etc. So document these small, minute things. And I know it's going to be tedious with everything else you have going on, but you'll thank me for this later. I've already paid the price. So you don't have to. So please, I'm asking you, please learn from my lesson where document it early. And I'm the king of documentation beats conversation. But it's always those little things, those little small things you're like, it's not that big of a deal. Those are the ones you want to make sure you document right away. Here's my actionable tip. Start a shared document where key conversations, decisions, actions are tracked from the beginning of the project to avoid missing critical details. You guys know my favorite artifact, which is a RAID Q log. RAID means risk, A means action items, I means issue, D means decision, and Q means questions. Point number 6, offer support rather than criticism. Again, offer support rather than criticism. A team member may be difficult to deal with due to challenges they're facing, whether personal or professionally. Offer support rather than immediate criticism can help them overcome obstacles and improve their performance. Here's my actionable tip. Approach difficult conversations with empathy and ask, is there anything I can do to support you before diving into the problem? Again, ask this question, family. Is there anything I can do to support you? Or how could I help support you in whatever you're doing? It's about the person. You want to start with the person first before jumping in and criticizing. See what's going on, dig deeper. Point number 7, model the behavior you want to see. Family, this is key as a project manager. Your team takes cues from your behavior, if you know it or not. So if you demonstrate a behavior of being patient, a behavior of being professional, a behavior of being collaborative, it's more likely that your team will follow suit. Now, of course, there are going to be project team members that don't, but eventually they will get on board, or you will need to take the proper escalation path to get them off the team. And if you can't get them off the team, you have to figure out a way to work around them and with them. And that's by really sitting down and really understanding what is going on with them, having that conversation. Here's my actionable tip. Actively display the behaviors you expect, such as punctuality, meaning being on time. When you say a meeting starts at 2 o'clock, start the meeting at 2 o'clock. Attentiveness. When someone is talking to you, paraphrase back the information that you just heard so you can let them know that you were listening to everything they said. Respect, as Aretha said, RESPECT. You know the respect that I need. Put some respect on my name and I will put some respect on yours. So again, all this has to be all interactions with your team, family. Ensure that you are providing, just treat people how you want to be treated. That's just as easy. And of course, you're going to have people that are not going to treat you well, but and those are what we have these tactics in here for. Point number 8, be proactive and not reactive. Address issues as soon as they arise. Letting small problems linger can lead to bigger conflict later on, making resolutions more challenges. Like I told you, a little quick high level story I shared with you about me not documenting, even though my intuition was saying document it was something small. I was like, okay, I'll work with the person and we'll get on. And eventually it just blew up. By the time I looked up, I was like, oh, because it started impacting the team. So my actionable tip is schedule regular check-ins with your team, giving them the chance to raise issues before they become major problems. That is key, giving them a chance to raise issues before they become major problems. My bonus, focus on building trust. This should have been number 1. This could have been 1 through 3. Building trust with your team can prevent future difficulties. Reason why a lot of your team members don't trust you or give you an opportunity to lead them is because they don't trust you. And some of it has to do with you, and some of it has to do with the person that was leading the team before you or leading another project. And maybe they got stuck with not being able to do what they were meant to do on this particular team. And that was to be the subject matter expert. And they're doing your role, their role, and someone else's role. So it could be a combination of different variables of why they don't trust you. But a majority of the time, it's either 1 or 2 things that I've seen is either somebody's already burned that bridge ahead of you, or you're not leading them effectively enough by communicating openly, being transparent. And that's one of the key ways that you can build that trust. Here's my actionable tip. Be transparent in your decision making. Take the time to listen to your team's concern, fostering trust from the offset. Here's my 3 transformational remarks, family, and I'll let you be on your way. Point number one, set the tone early. You already know frustrations come from a lack of expectation. So, as a new project manager, establish clear boundaries, expectations early in the project to prevent difficult behavior from emerging in the first place. Again, my actionable tip is start the project off by holding a kickoff meeting where team roles, responsibility, as well as behavioral expectations are explicitly stated. If you just got assigned a project that maybe someone else, a previous project manager, was working on, you want to realign the team again, just to let them know you're there to support them, and you're going to have to set that whole structure up against. You don't have to do a kickoff meeting, but I would recommend doing something similar to a kickoff meeting where you set that tone. No, point number two, document early and consistently. I shared the story with you, family, how there was something so small that I was like, okay, we'll be able to work through it. Even though my intuition was saying I need to document this because it was just something that just didn't feel right, but I didn't, and the thing eventually got worse because it started impacting the team. I just thought it was one-off person, but it was really the team. It just grew really fast. So start a shared document where key conversations, decisions, actions are tracked from the beginning of the project to avoid missing critical details, as I recommend my RAID Q log. And then stay confident in your authority. That is key, family. You do not feel like you're in a phase of imposter syndrome. This is an opportunity to show your authority with professionalism, with ethics, as well as being able to stand firm. Because listen, when you don't stand firm and lead the project without being swayed by resistance, you're going to be challenged because they're going to think, oh, this person is inexperienced. So, my actionable tip is maintain a confident tone when addressing issues and back your decision with data and logic, as well as project related information. Well, family, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I go by the name of ED for all you smart and intelligent folks out there. Listen, that just simply means Ed. Until next time.